Welcome to Dry Arabia! And today spawning in the north corner of the map in orange, we've got 3DB as the Malians. His opponent today in the south, it is Mista playing in blue as the Ottomans. Welcome, welcome ladies and gentlemen to egctv's Call to Arms best of 5 match between the Mista and 3DB. Starting off on Dry Arabia, and well, this is going to be a banger of a set. I mean, two fantastic players of Age of Empires 4. Two very unique players. I mean, these guys, they are just crazy to watch, fun to watch because they try such crazy stuff happening. Like 3DB, you can never predict. Mista is difficult to predict because he just doesn't really seem to get many games. We don't see him very often, and when we do, he usually has something special for us. So hopefully we have something special from both players today. We're going to cast a whole set of 5, so make sure you follow along because I'm hoping it's going to be a great set. And with the Ottomans versus the Malians, we're going to be going up with the two civilizations that are the newest civilizations to Age of Empires 4. And, well, I mean, with this particular civilization matchup, we can talk about the meta and what we kind of expect to happen, but in reality, when you talk about 3DB and Mista, you never quite know what's going to happen. But just for argument's sake, we will expect Ottomans, as they have done, to go for that military score, get some early pressure on any sort of gold veins they can. Now, the good thing for the Malians player 3DB, he does have the gold in the back, so it's a bit difficult for the Ottomans to go all the way around. It's just a bit more delayed. It's a bit more tricky to pull on some pressure. 3DB and the Malians kind of have two options mostly. Sometimes they try and pressure on the feudal age, but the Ottomans would probably do it better because of the fact they get the free military schools. Well, not free military schools, but they get the free units from the military schools. Obviously, there's a bit of an investment in those military schools, but once they're up and running, those units will certainly power through into the feudal age and put probably, you know, add a lot of bulk to the army. Let's just put it that way. The Malians, they could potentially go for a cow boom if they're feeling very greedy. They could go for a fast castle for Farimba garrison to get some relics and put some castle age units on the field. I mean, they could even try with feudal age pressure. I think against the Ottomans though is a bit tricky. They would have to have some good plays, some good fights, some good engagements. We will see. Malians sometimes can go for professional scouts. It could be a thing. Now, the Ottomans, they tend to have this kind of effect where they have to do some damage, really, because, I mean, their eco bonuses are non-existent. They just don't have any. And their bonuses, really, as a civilization, are focused on military. And because of that, well, he's going to have to try and maximize those units and put some pressure. The question is, will he be able to, and what will he produce? Often they do drop stables for Sipahi and archers coming out of the archery range because they are pretty decent with wood income. Often they seem to escalate quite well on wood, the Ottomans, especially because of the production buildings are cheaper. They only cost 100 wood. It's going to be the twin minaret madrasa in a questionable location on the front, which, you know, if B was going to be aggressive, like, that's the first thing he would attack, right? Possibly. So it's a bit risky to have the berry pickers there, but he's doing it in any way. And hopefully for Mista's sake, hopefully he might not be punished too much. We'll see what actually happens and transpires. B actually focusing a lot on wood here, so looking to maybe get that first production building pretty quickly after he reaches the next stage. Well, as in, he already has reached the next stage, so it's going to be the next thing he does is get that production building. The Mista a little bit more delayed to that next stage, and it's obviously because of the military school that he had to invest in nice and early, which he is kind of keeping at home now because he could be expecting an archery range. Let's just see what B actually decides to make on the field. Whether it's an archery range or stables, probably one of the two. We shall see. It's going to be neither. It's going to be a mill first. The concern for B actually is he doesn't really have much in the way of sheep. Kind of surprisingly enough. A lot of it is tailing around this scout. But let's take a look at Mista's situation with sheep. He's got quite a favourable amount. Holy moly. So, bit of a shame for B on that front. We want to try and get some cows out nice and early if he can, but doesn't really have the gold income to do it. It's having to rely on berries this early is kind of rough, actually. I gotta say, it's not really what you want to see as the Malians. And there's a cattle ranch going to be starting to build. Again on the front, so both players feeling very aggressive in terms of their eco placement. Maybe they're expecting some punishment. Maybe they want it. Maybe it'll spur them on. Who knows? I don't know why they're building stuff on the front. To be fair, it won't be able to fit all that many cattle ranches here, and the Grand Fulani Coral wouldn't be able to necessarily fit there, maybe. And the first production building is in fact a barracks for some Donsos, maybe. We'll see. Pretty slow start, actually. We'd be expecting to see some Dark Age push with the Spearmen from Mista, but he didn't really opt for it. Keeping those Spearmen at home for now. Going to go for a second town centre, it seems, Mista. Now, I think actually in this matchup is quite a nice approach, because the second town centre, you know, whilst they don't get any eco bonuses, they are getting military, so he should have a standing army. He doesn't necessarily have to actually produce too many. Like, he doesn't necessarily even have to put production buildings down. He's got protection for these villages. He's got protection for the town centre where it will want to be. And the 2 town centre play can be quite nice, supplemented by the military schools for producing army. It does give the window of opportunity for B to maybe get some deer with professional scouts, which he probably won't do considering he's actually going for the cattle ranches. It could give him a bit of space here for 3DB to maybe go to the Castle Age. But, you know, playing as the Ottomans, going 2 TC versus, you know, the Malians as opposed to any other civilization, the Ottomans will have a standing army, albeit small, maybe unidimensional, although he's toggled down to Sipahi. So even with 2 town centres, if 3DB does go to the Castle Age, well, Mr. won't be totally militaryless. He will have some units on the field. 14 sheep. I wonder where they used the Vizier point for the Anatolian Hills, because that's a lot of sheep. Maybe he's got the real rub of the green. Or should we say the rub of the meat? Another meal being made here for 3DB. Cattle Ranch is in awkward positions. Maybe he's going to go for the Grand Fulani Coral here, maybe? But going sort of an L shape with these cows. Quite a few villages on gold. It looks like maybe opting for a fast castle behind this, especially with the cow boom. But we'll see, because the Ottomans... I mean, it does give them the opportunity. The fact that the Ottomans are going 2 town centres gets the second town centre on the back here on the deer, wood and gold. Very nice position for that. Well, I guess not much... Wait a minute. Quite a few villages on stone. Now, I don't know if that's for the military schools or for a 3rd town centre. It cannot be, right? It can't be, no. It's going to be for the military schools. He does pull those villages away now, and probably going to opt for another military school at some point soon, as long as he can get the wood for it. Struggling on that front, though. Does have a double broadaxe, so once the villagers do start chopping wood, he'll get there. Well, they've actually gone for food, so yeah, it's going to supply the civilization with the food for the second town centre and the stable production. But slowly but surely, the villager lead will start to climb, and does have 3 villages on gold as well, maybe looking to get some more upgrades. Pushing in the deer nice and closely with the spearmen and the scouts. This is actually really nice for the Mista. The economy is going to be rocking and rolling with the deer packs in. I would like to see him get survival techniques if he hasn't already. And she hasn't quite yet, but that's going to be so good, this food. Bringing it right underneath the town centre, essentially. It's going to push this one as well. Being pretty greedy, but is being allowed to. And, well, this economy is going to be looking absolutely strong for the Mista. The question is whether it'll be strong enough to go against a cow boom. Time will tell. Has got the pit mine in the north as well, so passive gold generation. Should be able to get this as well, considering the passive, the static defenses rather, coming up with the palisade walls. Could wall this to the town centre, which would be quite nice, and that's exactly what he does, as you'd expect. Now keep the economy pretty contained. But Mista keeping an eye on things with a scout and a Sipahi going forward now. Question is, he can't really do much damage at this point, so I wonder whether he'll go to the Castle Age, straight here. 2 town centre to Castle Age. Just interesting game plan so far. I mean, not really anticipated. I kind of expected this matchup to be pretty aggressive. But we're starting off slowly but surely. And I'm sure we'll have games where it's going a bit crazy. It wouldn't be Mista versus B without some craziness. And here it is. Sipahi is just going to irritate the villagers there for B. It does now back off now, Mista. It's going to have to get out of there. And back at home, he's certainly booming away, and it is going to be Castle Age. You can see the food and gold matching up nicely for that. And it's going to be the Mehmed Imperial Armory, most likely. I mean, it's got to be, right? It's going to get him 3 siege engines. And I quite worry for B's situation, because whilst B looks like he's going to be on the way to Castle Age 2, I think the power spike that the Ottomans get in the Castle Age is really nice. You can get another military school and also get siege engines for free. And those mangonels can make a big difference if that is indeed the siege option he goes for. And considering at the moment that the Malians are very infantry heavy in terms of unit composition, just a couple of Donsos and Javelin throwers, you know, the Malians will be very at risk against Mangonels. But we'll see. $14 villagers on gold there for Mista. I think he took villagers off of food to start building the Mehmed Imperial Armory. It's going to be floating gold for a while. Might need to just redirect some of these villagers elsewhere. It's going to be the Grand Falana Coral rather, kind of anticipated. But it provides 20 food per minute for nearby cattle. It's kind of anticipated we'll see that, but what maybe isn't anticipated is the castle age timing for the Mista, especially with 2 town centres. It's kind of interesting, right? How he went 2 town centres, but still gets to the castle age ahead of time compared to B. And I think really the main strength of the cow boom is the fact it doesn't take population space, right? That's a really huge boost, but it's only really critical in the late game. At this stage, it doesn't really matter so much. And 3DB now does get to the castle age, and he's going to need to try and push this army back. He's going to break through, but you know, can't really dive in there. Needs to back away for now. Looking to get wheelbarrow Mista and iron undermesh from the blacksmith. Veterancy upgrades coming in first here for 3DB. And now he's getting veteran archers for the Mista and the Ottomans. Floating a lot of gold. You can see he's maybe a little bit out of practice. Would like to see a couple of villagers just go on to deer now. Although having said that, he might be getting siege engines. We shall see. Doesn't have a siege workshop. He's going to rely on the Mehmed Imperial Army just for now. Going to get that 3rd military school. Now one is toggled to Sipahi, one is toggled to man-at-arms, the other spearmen so far, but maybe looking to change that soon. Time will tell. Time will tell. Now, will there be a mosque coming in for the Malians for some relics? It's going to be stable first for Sofa. But neither player investing infrastructure for the relics just yet. Now, we're not that far away from a Mangonel. Just 1 minute. And it's always useful to have a Mangonel in a fight. Bit aggression with the Sipahi. Nice, nice, nice. Gonna snipe as much as they possibly can. But oh, this is good by the Donsos. They get a couple of throws of their spears and the javelin throws on the back line. We'll pick off one Sipahi, maybe a second. Doesn't quite get the second. And the Mista backs off for now. But the military number's starting to build up for B. But 3 units is what Ottomans is liking and enjoying right now. And one more is about to pop out in the form of a siege engine. We're going quite heavy on stone, the Mist. I think maybe looking to get a keep in a forward position. We'll see. Looks like Malian units heading across the map now. 23 of them. But this is kind of bad for B. It's pretty much all infantry, right? I mean, the concern is that he needs springolds because... and it could be something that's anticipated. Like, you kind of expect the Ottomans to go for the Mehmed Imperial Armory. So B should be aware of this. Question is, does he have a siege workshop of his own? I don't think so. It doesn't. Spy, they spot this out, Mista, and he'll be quite confident taking a fight with the Mangonel there. Just need to make sure he doesn't run the Spy into the Donsos. Let the Mangonels do everything else. But, yep. Might heat up very soon, we'll have to see. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying the casted content on the channel anyway. Do give the video a thumbs up, it actually really helps the channel. It's so strong for the algorithm. It really boosts the video, giving the videos a thumbs up. Maybe drop a comment in the comment section below, maybe your favourite emoji. It'll really help me out, but we are seeing the army going forward now, so the Ottomans are going to be helped out a lot by this Mangonel. Will we see another? 11 Imperial Armory. Going to be about another minute and a half away from a second Mangonel. And it's deploying. But B is doing well to keep up military production. The concern for B is that he is behind on villagers, but he does have a cow boom. So that's the state of affairs at the moment. One suffer does go down. And it does have a decent number of gold deposits to take. Has run out of his main one. And he is actually, speaking of gold, he is looking to get acid distillation, increasing the gather rate of gold. Speaking of gold, look at Mista's gold, holy moly. He's been out that gold vein for quite some time, gathering a lot of resources. He's now starting to wall up on the east side. A very passive opening. Maybe both players are a little bit more tentative. They are trying to feel each other out, get a bit of a warm-up going. Here comes the second mangonel. I think with 2 mangonels, I think it feels like Mista could comfortably take a fight. Especially without any siege being there. The Soffer might literally try and dive the mangonels, but as long as Mista protects them, he should be fine. Mista just macroing out. Don't blame him. Got 500 stone in the bank and didn't build any more, or didn't get any more workers on stone. Kind of surprising. Alright, takes the engagement. Sipahi about to engage, but the Soffer head back. He's going to go around the east side there as well. The Mista trying to get a tail round. There's no siege to snipe. Oh, the Soffer try and jump on those Sipahi. They do, and well, the Soffer are being dragged away from the mangonels. Mangonels should push this back, but he needs to be careful because he's got an army primarily of infantry. Does have a couple of Soffer going around the east side. Maybe looking to just try and snipe the mangonel if he can. He's going to head back with the infantry, maybe buy himself some time for some springalds. There's that second mangonel. Going to try and drag away the Sipahi, but Mista doesn't take the bait, and the Soffer are going to dive in the gold. Maybe looking to do some damage. Going to get a relic and also activate the Sacred Site there, B. Going to push down the middle. Army has been split into 2 groups now. It's actually a bit of an overcommitment on the Sipahi there, I think. It will take out the Soffer, rather. It does leave his army on the front line pretty exposed there, Mista. Mangonels deploy. Soffer are diving in. A couple of Janissaries. All the mangonel shots get off, but they don't do too much damage, at least just yet. The Janissaries are going to rip through the Soffer. I think this is a problem for B. He's got the mangonels to contend with. Oh, a lot of javelin throws went down on the back line for the mangonel shots. Also, the Janissary is going to do critical damage to the Soffer. Mangonel's getting in on the Soffer as well, and B losing a lot of units. He might be able to try and break through and try and get the mangonels, but it doesn't look likely. He lost way too much, and the mangonel's going to pick off the units that are retreating. That was a terrible fight for B. I'm not sure why he took it. I'm not sure why he took it without springalds. It was very brave of him. A bit reckless. And he's paid the price. The 2 mangonels got so much value. I wish we could see kill count on each unit, because that'll tell us a story. 61 military to 38, and well, Mista's economy is stronger as well, it seems, at this point. Bad start to the game. Bad engagement. Sometimes Age of Empires 4 can be decided by 1 or 2 bad engagements and how it's followed up, and the Mista should put some aggression. There's no need to back off here. A couple of javelin throws getting their javelins off, but well, they're pushed back again by mangonels. That guy managed to get away with it despite having rocks thrown at his back. Sipahi on the east side looking to pick off any units that are trying to raid. Oh, a couple of Soffer going to pick off villagers. Mista needs to react. Oh, sure, he's got 2 town centers, but he can't just keep mining. He needs to deal with that. He is now. More villagers coming out to the gold. Hello. I think, to be fair, the Soffers will die now, but in any case, more action on the front lines. 2 mangonels supporting the rest of the army. And I think a big deal here is the Janissaries, right? 14 Janissaries, the Soffers and the cavalry. This is so smart. This is so good, because when you think about it, like, B doesn't have any springalds, right? So he's going to try and snipe the mangonels with cavalry, which he just can't get close because of the Janissaries. Oh no, the mosque is going to be taken down. There are 3 relics in there, but they're not had the time to really help him out too much. The Soffer going to try and get around the back to try and snipe the mangonels, but it's more or less relying on a mistake from the Mista at this point. 73 military to 55. More Sipahi coming in from the back. Soffer are trying to get around. They might just sneak into the mangonels. Mangonel shots get off on the infantry as best they can. Mangonels again, huge shots. Oh my god, that's an absolute destruction on this infantry on the back line. This could be the big fight that wins the game for the Mista. Down to 30 military there be. Mista is cleaning up the back line. The Soffer are going down. The mangonels are alive. The 3rd mangonel joins the fight. The Janissary is getting so much value, taking out the Soffer and crossbows as well. And now the Sipahi are going to dive right into the heart of the economy. The Malians, cows, they are at risk. And the Sipahi going to take down the cattle ranches, and the cows get taken out as... Oh, that's dreadful. Those 3 just got knocked out by the boulders from the mangonels. There's no way to get close to the mangonels here for B. He missed a critical unit. He missed the springald. He definitely needed them, and he didn't get them in time, and he doesn't even have a siege workshop, I think, at this point. Maybe trying to get a Wallalow, but I don't think it's going to work. Last-ditch efforts. 3 mangonels are a little bit exposed, but only to a couple of Soffers, but the Janissaries ripped through them. The Grand Fulani Coral will be next to go down, you suspect, in terms of structures. The infrastructure for the Malians it's absolutely in tatters. Well, the Ottomans are going to overrun here. It looks like it certainly. It doesn't seem like there's any way back here for B. In game number 1, Mangonel does get sniped. Okay, he's got a springald finally. Better late than never, but it just feels like the damage has been done. He's got 2 springalds, in fact. But now the Sipahi dive on those springalds. And if the springalds go down, there's no way that B can defend this. just the units are coming out of the stables and whatever production buildings. They're getting sniped instantaneously. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The Mista takes game number 1 in what was an interesting game, an unusual game, but plenty more content. The next game, game number 2, coming right up. Welcome to Lipany for game number 2 in this best of 5 series, with 3DB spawning in the west side of the map as the Abbasid dynasty in orange, and his opponent, of course, as you know, Mista in the east in blue as the French. Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2. And well, B's going to want a response, right? He can't just let the Mista get 2-0 on him. He needs to draw one up to level the series. And I mean, to be fair, even if he drops another game, he could try and get a reverse sweep. We'll have to see, because it's going to be an interesting civilization matchup. I think it favors generally the Abbasid dynasty on this one, but I mean, the French are no slouches. The Abbasid dynasty, of course, do get the camels, which counter the knights, but I think these two civilizations are very close to each other in terms of like strength, I guess, in a way. The French have that tempo aggression with the French the early French Royal Knight. The Abbasid dynasty can certainly boom away, but I think something that people generally sleep on is the fact that the French can do the same. Like, sure, they don't get cheaper villages, sure, their town centers aren't cheaper, but their town centers, they produce villages faster. So you're always at a disadvantage, like equal TC numbers to equal TC numbers between the Abbasid and French, while the French just make more villages. I guess the French people just like to have a bit more fun, and so their village counts will start to rise a bit quicker. And I mean, that's something you've got to consider. Like, whilst the Abbasid dynasty do like to boom, the French, if they scout it and they match like for like, they'll just do it better. Especially because of the fact that the French have cheaper upgrades in terms of economy upgrades. It's something very nice for their economy and their approach. But we will see, because it's not always the case that the Abbasid dynasty do go for an eco approach. They can quite easily go for the military wing and do some shenanigans. We've seen it happen before, and obviously B, he's that kind of guy. We'll have to see what he decides to do. But I'm super excited for game number 2, because this is a fantastic set. We don't see Mista playing very much, and we all like to watch 3DP as well in particular. So when they both play against each other, it very rarely happens. It's usually a treat, and that's what hopefully we're going to get today in game number 2. Now, one good thing about the Abbasid dynasty is their scouting. The scout can go out and about and just gather as many sheep as it possibly would want. Has got 7 already, and it's because of the fact that they go to berries. The Abbasid dynasty get a bit of a bonus on the berries. The Abbasid dynasty cannot take the boar, and that's what kind of compensates for having access to the berries, where they actually boost the berries in terms of when they got a mill. It gives it an extra bit of food. An extra 100 food, by the way. 350 out of 250. But not only that, they do gather berries at a faster rate than all the other civilizations, apart from the Delhi, which is the same as them. And it will be the School of Cavalry going with 3 villages here for the Mista. And I'll be interested to see if he does go on stone for a second town center. B going up with the military wing. So we talked about how he could look to try and be aggressive and put some pressure, and maybe just deny pressure coming in from the Mista. Because you do spawn with spearmen as well as archers. 2 spearmen, 2 archers. That'll help B defend, at least in the short term. And we'll see how things end up going on from there. Villager coming out to stone, so the situation's telegraphed. Mista will spot this, and he does take a sheep sneakily. Gonna get another one? Yeah, he does get another one. And he goes on stone. So steals 2 sheep. Denies it from the Mista. 5 villagers on stone. I suspect Mista will go out to stone himself now that he sees that. Maybe not after... maybe not too long after getting an early night. I don't know if the knight will get there in time. It possibly could, but even if it does, I quite expect the Abbasid dynasty to keep those units, the 2 spearmen and the 2 archers here to protect. Now, an interesting way to think about it, like you might be thinking, well, if you're going to get a second town center, why would you not go for the eco wing? Well, the reason why is because essentially if you do, then you're going to need to get the wood for a barracks and then produce some spearmen, right? So it's quite a heavy investment in terms of just, units to actually pay for them, but also to pay for the barracks. And in order to do that, that would delay your second town center in terms of wood cost. And so actually you'll be, be less quick to get those villager numbers up. And so hence why it's actually not a bad approach, even just to supply and support the economy. Because, well, there's that School of Cavalry operating now with the knight, and it's going to be an archery range coming down for the Mista. So before he goes for a second town center himself, he's going to go for an archery range, and, well, B will spot that. Like, this is very intentional scouting, by the way. This is super, super intentional. And it's really smart because as soon as the scout goes away, what does the Mister do? Boop. He gets a mining camp. And, like, don't underestimate the intentionality behind this. This is super intentional. Like, I'm sure Mister was keeping an eye or had a good rough idea of where that scout would be. And so he decides to go on stone later, going for the berries and the woodline on the front side of things. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised B doesn't go there. There's deer and there's wood. It's kind of shocking, actually. I mean, sure, the berries are strong for the Abbasid dynasty, but it's kind of exposed as something that could be hit quite soon by the Mister if he goes for feudal age aggression. But we do see the Mister obviously go for that second town centre now. Maybe B will go for a third town centre. Who knows? Who knows? Oh, has to back away from building that house. Need to be careful not to get housed here now, the 3DB rather. Night goes around and it's kind of crazy though how, like, just the civilization, the fact it's going for the knights, that kind of dictates what wing 3DB opts for. I mean, of course he doesn't have to go for the military wing, but it's a rational choice considering he'll be up against those knights. And there's that second town centre now up and running, but up until now, the Mister has been having a better villager production rate, obviously from his town centre. And with the matching for 2 for 2, well, the Mister will keep ahead. In fact, that villager lead will keep growing. He's got enough stone, almost. Yeah, there it is. And he's going to get it on deer and gold. This is actually a disgusting TC location. It's exactly what the French need. It's unbelievable, actually. This spawn is ridiculous. Like, to have the gold and the food like that together is absolutely perfect for French. Could not ask for anything more than that. And, well, B's just going to boost up the berries for now. And now he can rely on the sheep. He's got 9 back at home. Although he does have... yeah, I mean, he can't really venture out there just yet. The threat of the French Royal Knight always looming. But heading into the 7th minute of the game now. No real damage coming out from either player. And the Mister looking just to protect his economy. Pushing in the deer where he can. He does quite a good job of this, actually. You saw it in the game number 1 as well. Making sure he gets the economy very, very efficient. B looking to wall up, playing the longer side of things of the game. But he's going to need more town centres. Not sure if he's aware of this situation, actually. Which is kind of critical. Like he doesn't know, right? I think he's expecting a 2 towns, like just a straight feudal age push against his 2 town centre. But it's just not happening. Not yet, at least. Not without eco at the back line, the back end of the French civilization. Well, B has caught up in the villager lead count and has actually got a 1 villager lead, but that won't last long now that the second town centre is up and running for the French. Production buildings, 1 of each, archery range, stable and barracks. Scout might lose his life if he's not careful. He needs to back away. He does back away in time. The knight might charge, and if he does, he might get it. And the movement speed for the knight, 1.62 tiles per second. For the scout, 1.62, so pretty neck and neck and even. Oh, they could have got them there at the time. He pulled away. They kind of bumped into trees there, 3DB. Charge attack comes off and he does get the scout, so scouting information for B is going to struggle. Actually, that's kind of a problematic situation because B needs to see what's happening. He needs to spot either the second town centre. Wait a minute. Surely, what is going on? Right, well, Mister going for a 3rd town centre. And well, so is B. Question is, where does he put that town centre? This would be now a very nice spot to put it in. And that's exactly where he's going. Well, this is a very unusual dynamic to the game so far. Pretty passive. Game number 1 and game number 2, but it's going to heat up at one point. At least we can guarantee you that much. Getting an outpost on the gold, making sure it's nice and protected. Does have another deer pack here as well at the back, which is actually kind of nice spawning behind the walls for 3DB. And, well, I mean, you can see the very intentional base building strategy here for the Mister, 2 archer ranges and the barracks. But a keep here would be nice to protect the front of his base, but also, obviously, under the influence of a keep, the archer ranges and the stables produce units cheaper if we get to the castle age. I'm sure we will because of the way that the game's panning out. I would like to see this wall being completed actually, and just get a gate in between the two. Just in case the villagers here need to retreat, it just lets the just blocks the knights breaking in so easily, or just running through, to be honest. But well, Mr. walling up himself as well. And yeah, I mean, I guess not much to talk about here apart from the fact that the villager count is pretty even. Now, the question is, where does that third town centre go for them? I mean, was it actually for... hang on a minute. Was it actually for a third town centre for the Mist? I'm not so sure. Yeah, it was actually. It was on the woodline back here. Holy moly. Alright, pretty dead even number of villages though, which is kind of nice for B when you consider the French town centre should be working faster. It's just the case that the B has been getting the town centres a little bit quicker to go operational. But as time goes on, Mister's village count will start to rise a little bit better. But there is the Castle Age click up there for 3DB. Gonna go up with the Eco Wing this time. I mean, it does feel like... I don't know, I mean, when you scale like to 3 town centres, it does feel like Eco Wing's a bit better. Even if you have to invest in a barracks early. I don't know, it's a bit tricky to think actually, because you get that town centre a lot earlier, not having to invest in the barracks and the units. It'd be nice to see if someone could do some testing on that in terms of just raw numbers. Blacksmith going up as well for 3DB, looking to get those upgrades. Now, what does B go with the Castle Age? Does it go for some Lancers? Does it go for some Ghulam? I don't think he goes for Ghulam because it could expect Knights to come out and the Knights will counter them. Maybe Crossbow. Maybe he has to have a high infantry number and just push on with Siege. Infantry and Siege, Crossbowmen, Siege Workshop maybe. Guild Hall. And I actually like this play, by the way. We don't often see the Guild Hall, but because this match is looking to be a long one, both players have been booming, I think this makes a lot of sense. Like the Royal Institute is very good if you're being aggressive, you want to double down and you want to pressurize the issue. If you've done some damage, you want to continue the momentum. But none of that is the case in this match. And so I really do appreciate and like this choice of the Guild Hall. Economic Wing as well, I think for B, it makes sense. But it's not like he can get the miniature wing anyway, he already has it. And I would like to see some French men-at-arms. It sounds awkward and sounds unusual, especially because you expect to see knights. But the Abbasid Dynasty won't be expecting it, right? Although, having said that, the Abbasid Dynasty might go for crossbows to counter knights, and that would incidentally counter the man-at-arms as well. But Mr. getting to the Castle Age first, courtesy of the fact that the House of Wisdom just can't speed up the research. He does get there now. He's going to get composite bows, a very strong upgrade for the archers, of which he doesn't have that many. Now he's having to back off and head back home. I'd be interested to see if anyone drops a mosque or a monastery if you're the French. Just pick up some of those relics, right? That could become important if the game goes long. As we're heading into the 13th minute mark of the game now. Quite a few villagers still on gold here, B. Holy moly. Let's take a look at the production buildings. So 4 archery ranges, composite bows coming in. Now this could be critical. Like, the thing is, the French, they do well with the knights, but composite bow archers from the Abbasid Dynasty could be really strong, especially if he gets boot camp. Increasing the health by 15%, and that's exactly what he does. Oh wait, I thought he queued that up for a second. Not enough resources. He would do well to get that upgrade for the archers as well. The trouble is, if he takes a bad fight against knights, he could be in trouble. Certainly straight archers versus archers, the Abbasid Dynasty will certainly win. He's going to pick off a knight. Oh, doesn't pick it off. 14 HP on left on that guy. Just doesn't manage to get the kill. But now we see the villager count slowly starting to get ahead for the Mist, as you'd expect. He is on stone as well, so now that he's in the Castle Age, could look to drop down a keep just to make the units a bit cheaper. And he's continuing to produce units though, getting Gambesons as well. Increases the arbitrary and melee armor by +5. Now what's really interesting is that these guys, I believe, outrange the archers from the Abbasid Dynasty. So the tiles range is 5. Let's just take a look on the Abbasid Dynasty archers, wherever they may be. That's actually the same. Okay, that makes sense. Fair enough. Fair enough. Having said that, that's actually because of Steeled Arrow, right? So B has... Okay, it doesn't actually increase the range, actually. It just increases the damage. Okay, fair enough. For a second there I was considering that it might increase the range. In any case, 3DB is now getting a keep on the gold. And it can be looking to secure that sacred site position at least as well. It's actually a very healthy gold vein. And stone at the back of that as well. Look at the palisade wall behind this, but going to be a bit of a standoff between the two civilizations in game number 2. Question is, does either player go for a really cheeky Imperial Age? That would be pretty greedy, I gotta say, if that was the case. And Mista can afford to keep, so we'll be expecting to see one here pretty soon. Relics. Well, on that front, Mista is looking to get the first relic. Has one in his grasp. Looking to bring it home. There it is. Not a lot else going on, I gotta say. Both players just booming up. The trouble for B is that he doesn't quite necessarily know that there's a third town centre for the Mista. So whilst B probably thinks he might be ahead on village count, well, sadly on his front, he's not. There's that second relic coming in as well now. So the eco going to be looking strong. Now B does have more military. He's going to slide. It looks like he's going to start to push in now. I hope he has boot camp. He does indeed. And he's getting those blacksmith upgrades quite purposefully. But where does he do damage? You can't really break in through the east because there's like a lot. Well, there's a lot of walling here from Mista. He's even getting stone walls. He just doesn't want to be pushed in this side. Securing wood lines. Pretty important actually, I guess. But he wants to focus in the middle. Don't blame him. The good thing for the Mista is he's got the keep in the middle, so it's very difficult for B to push here. Could potentially sneak in through here, but it's a very small opportunity, small window of space to break through. But 61 military for B. It comes down to the fact that these villages are cheap of him, at least. Heading to almost double the military for B. This could be putting him in a good position, but it's predominantly archers, right? And if the Mista spots this and gets a couple of mangonel, oh god, we're just telegraphing here. We're saying it as it happens. All he has to do is get mangonels, and maybe for the second game in a row, B will be regretting not making springolds. He needs to deal with the mangonels. I mean, even composite bow archers with the boot camp, they still will struggle against mangonels if they're in good numbers. There's a keep coming here on the west side, protecting the gold, protecting the relics as well. I think Mista just strategically playing this really well, protecting all the key resources appropriately. He hasn't got another mangonel queued up, unfortunately, for his sake. And he's facing 77 military. Here's mangonel coming out for B, though. And I'm surprised by that option. I mean, he does have a decent... I mean, he has a fair bit of infantry, to be fair. But I would love to see a springald. Or two. Gonna run into the keep. You're gonna have to... I don't think you can just dive that. He needs to back... Okay, he's just gonna dive it. It is granted the keeps... Oh my god, keeps don't do as much damage as they used to, but oh god, the mangonel, the French mangonel might be sniped. Lancer try and dive in, but doesn't get the snipe in the end. And it does pull back. Maybe a missed opportunity there for Mista to shout damage. He picks in a relic here, B, the first of his on this map. Look at the trickle of units, just holy moly. Going really crazy in the archer numbers. Massive farming transition coming out there for B. He is the one looking to be aggressive. Does have a large military number and presence. But looks like Mista's playing very hard to try and break to be broken. Like, where does B go through here? This keeps on here. This side, that side. There's a town centre. A very well protected economy here, Mista. So many resources. Plenty of wood. Would like to see a farming transition. I think the villagers being pushed off of wood is really not a problem for the Mista. Just to make some more farms. We'll be losing some villagers on the berries, and there is the Imperial Age for the Mista, and he's going to look to get some really strong units with upgrades. What did he go with? He must have gone with the Red Palace, no? We'll have to see. Take a look in a second, because all we know is a massive push coming in. B needs to do damage. He's an age behind. They could take up to the next stage himself very soon. Where is that landmark? Building another TC just for good measure. There's the Red Palace. Protecting gold. And some berries. Interesting position and location. Getting a university as well. Gonna get the necessary upgrades. Mangonel shot. Oh my god, B! What are you doing? For the second game in a row, please just get some springolds, man. The two mangonels always threatening. Huge damage coming out of there. And I think B might be losing his mangonel if he's not careful. Come on, horseman, dive on it for Mista. No, he doesn't. He backs off. But guys, please, B, just make some springholds, damn it. It's going to go with the trade wing, which is not a bad shout. He's got trade setting up, and that will be good for his gold income. But the guild hall for the Mista is toggled to food. He just cashed it in. He's going to go for stone now. Got a bit of food there, and now he's going to go for stone, and he's going to spam keeps, right? That's the great thing about the Mista, his position as the French. The fact that he can passively generate stone. No other civilization can really do this to the extent that they can. And so whilst B will have trade, the trouble is that takes population space for one. Number two, he's going to need siege, a lot of it, to deal with those keeps if he starts spamming them out. Question is though, they lost a lot of units to the mangonels. Good shot, but it's against horsemen, so he won't really mind too much. Oh, this is bad. I mean, even though these guys have got boot camp and composite bows, this is a very dangerous number of horsemen that building up for the French. And don't forget, these aren't just any horsemen, they're elite French horsemen. He probably has biology now as well. We'll see. He's getting it now. Oh, he's already got it. So sorry, I don't think they get biology as far as I know. They get bloodlines. But this could be the big fight that we're expecting. The horsemen going to dive in with the mangonels. They could get a good few hits, and he's going to get the surround. Going to snipe out the mangonel that B has. The mangonel does go down for the Abbastanzi. Mangonel shot comes out. He's going to lose so much. Oh, B loses so many archers, and well, there's a massacre. It's an absolute destruction in the archers on the back line for the French. They're getting good hits as well. Another mangonel shot. The archers do back off, but he's just lost so many units here, B. He's down to 33 military. Does have villages in abundance, but now here comes the French army barraging forward across the map. Camels are on the field for the Abbasid dynasty. They're going to need to hold the lines as best they can. As best they can. Here comes a fight. Man-at-arms on the front lines as well for the Mista. That can be difficult for the archers to deal with. They can't really. They're going to tank a lot. Here comes another mangonel shot on those archers on the back line that 3DB has. Another mangonel shot. No springholds. Will B just make a damn springhold in this set? For goodness sake. It's just so rough. He's losing so much to the mangonels, and well, something we've learned here. We've got to make those springholds, and slowly but surely Mista getting the upper hand in game number 2. He won the first game, so this is going to be rough for B to come back into this set. He's going to need a reverse sweep if he loses this game. 61 military to 40. Now B does have a lot of food, but he's struggling on gold. Here comes another mangonel. Good measure, and he might be looking to break through on the east side. Looks like B is going to try and get a keep just to hold the lines as much as he can. But a lot of forward production, that could be at risk very soon. Mangonels about to deploy. Split up his army into 2 though, the Mista. And I like what he's doing here because he knows that he's cleared up a lot of army for B. So he's going to give B a bit of a headache by splitting up his army, or at least threatening to. Yeah, he's going to go there now on the west side. Army's being sent on the east side. Trying to get as much value as he possibly can. We'll run into the keep, so no real way into the heart of the Abbasid dynasty base on the east side. But he's broken through on the west side. Mining stone. Could look to get a forward keep. Here are the horsemen, the pressure coming in, and the trader will be denied. At least temporarily. At least some of the traders will go down. Might need to take out this keep. If the Mista could get a couple of cannons, French cannons, that could be dangerous. Getting a keep in the center of the map is 3DB. Just trying to stabilize a little bit. Here comes some hand cannoneers from the Abbasid dynasty. Mixing it up with some spearmen. And he will push this back. The Mista has to head back, but slowly but surely he's gaining some map presence and control. He does have 2 relics, one being brought in as well, one on the sacred sites. Would love to see a forward keep here for the Mista. Should be able to forward one soon. Guild Hall still toggled onto stone. 580 stone, that's actually kind of bonkers. Oof. He's going to be able to spam keeps very soon. Mangonel shots get off again, and the spearmen are going to be destroyed very quickly, although they do pick off one of the mangonels. Still one more mangonel there for the French. He gets hit on the cavalry more than the spearmen, which is not ideal. The spearmen will rip through the horsemen. There's a forward keep coming up for the Mista. This could be the game. If this keep goes up, B might tap out because this is a strong position. Gonna make sure he gets that berry patch, make sure he gets that stone, and it's a forward position to attack from, right? A couple of the camels do snipe the mangonel at least, which is strong for the Abbasid dynasty, but this forward position looks like it's going to be difficult to push back for the B. He's struggling in resources, got plenty of gold, but lacking on food now at this point. The income's pretty similar, apart from B getting a lot more gold. If he can hold on, that could help him. But B is at population cap, so is the Mista pretty much. The horsemen diving in. Maybe looking to snipe out trade, sniping out villages. Another farming transition coming in on the west side. A lot of arbalistry here. And there are the cannons. The cannons take out the keep. Static defenses for B will be in tatters, and then he'll just ride in with his cavalry. A slow push for the mista. He's looking strong in game number 2. Is there something that B can do about this though? I'm not so sure. He's looking to get a lot of upgrades. A forward town center, mostly just to get berries and protect it. He's had a lot of town centers for quite some time there, the mista. He's going to have to repair B, but doesn't have an infinite supply of stone, that is for sure. He's going to need more stone. Maybe needs to trade it in, but that would be valuable gold that he's having to spend just to keep up for as long as possible. Here's a culverin looking to snipe the cannon. Does get a hit. Not on the cannon though. Didn't land. Horseman diving in. This could be a big snipe off by the mista. If he gets rid of that culverin, that will be huge. He will get it in the end. At what cost? The hand cannons will take out a lot of the elite horsemen. Doesn't really matter though. It's a good trade. The cannon takes out the keep. Things going from bad to worse for B. He can't push this back. 26 military. The mista pushing forward with the artillery and the cannon on the front line. 2 cannons now. He's breaking through. Could this be the end of the game? He's going to push in slowly but surely. Where does he go from here? B, he's got a lot of economy there unprotected. Those villagers going to be slaughtered if they're not careful. The artillery are going to focus on the spearmen first. Another keep coming out for the mista right in the heart of the Bastard Dynasty base and territory. And if he gets that keep up, the trade will be denied. At least for the time being. Is going around on the west side on the trade with 3 horsemen. Those villagers are at the mercy of those French horsemen. He's pushing through the middle, reshuffling the keep position, even going a bit more aggressive on the farms, and this is looking bad. I don't think B has anything in response to this. He's got nothing coming on the east, can't split up his army. He's got walls, he's got protection, but this is where the problem is. It's all in the west. Does have a culverin. Is that... Wait. Yeah, it's a culverin. He's going to snipe out 1 cannon. He does get it in the end, which is nice for B. Helps his situation a little bit, but well, the mista, he's pushing further forward. Be diving in against the hand cannoneers with those horsemen, and look at that, 53 military to 14. The Bastard Dynasty struggling to keep up production. He's lacking resources in order to do that. And the artillery are dotted around the map in this area of the map, and he's going to struggle here. B to push this back. Does have a keep. Mista again slowly pushing forward. He's going to get a town center just as a static defense more than anything. It's just what he can afford. The horseman diving in on the wood line. Despite the keep being there, he doesn't care. He's just get villager kills, causing as much idle time as he possibly can. Now the cannon's going to focus on the House of Wisdom. He has 2 cannons. Does he have a culverin? He doesn't now here. B. He's struggling. Going to lose traders. The House of Wisdom is on its last limbs, and once that goes down, there's another keep. It's going to be an absolute keep spam for the mista. Once the House of Wisdom goes down, the next thing will be the town center. It won't take long for the cannons to do that. The camels trying to push this back, but artillery will be decent at dealing with that. The House of Wisdom does go down. Some villagers to get that town center. Could he cash in for another keep? That's the question. I'm not sure he will need to in any case. Be running out of steam, and he does tap out in game number 2. Mista, he's taking the set by the bull's horns. He's got 2 victories under his belt as we head into game number 3. B needs a response. Welcome to Frisian Marshes, and today, well, as you guys know, 3DB spawning in the east side of the map in orange as the French, and going up against Mista, of course, in the north corner of the map in blue as the Rus. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 3 for egctv's Call to Arms, a $15,000 tournament, and well, this is possibly match point. Mista, if he wins this game, it is all over for this set, at least for B. Hopefully B can get a response, because he needs to. Like, losing 3-0 is rough at the best of times, but it's especially rough for us, because we want to see 5 games, damn it. 2 of the most exciting players to watch in Age of Empires 4. We'd love to see another one. On Frisian Marshes, the Rus versus the French. Now, I'm a bit surprised that B didn't ban the Rus. Like, the Rus are very strong on pretty much every map, so it's kind of crazy that we're seeing this. I think B's going to need to get something out of his hat. This one. He's gone out to Shorefish already. Wait a minute. Okay, he's going to go for an early wheelbarrow here. B looking to get the eco approach first. And, I mean, the thing is, Mista... Oh, God, this is such a tricky situation going against the Rus on Frisian Marshes. Just going through against the Rus on any map. Because they're just so strong economy-wise, right? They're getting bounty. They're going to be getting an early wheelbarrow in many cases if they can afford it. But the French are no slouches. I think if you're going to face up against the Rus, the French have a decent approach to this. On this map, trade is really strong for some civilization. The Mongols, I doubt we'd see it from the French. You know, you can get the Chamber of Commerce sometimes, but it's super unlikely. I mean, let's face it, it's very unlikely. But B could be crazy enough to do it. And especially it's unlikely because the Rus, you know, they've got the mobility with their knights as well. So this could just come down to a knight fight. And the B is no stranger to that. He does love getting knights on this map. He does love being aggressive with them and microing in particular. I think, you see, the thing is, Mista is incredibly strong in terms of strategy. He's like a bit of a master strategist. But B is a micro nerd. He's so good at microing. So that could be something that wins the game for him. We'll have to see. He's going to send some more villagers to Shorefish now that he feels safe to do so. And it's going to be the Kremlin for the Mista. Nice static defense. It's going to protect 2 stone piles and gold vein. Now I wonder whether there's going to be 2 town center from the Rus. It could be an option. It's often done. It's often that they do that. So it could be a good case for him to do it on this map as well if he wants to go for the Shorefish. I mean, maybe that's a way that B gets into this fight, into this match, because so when you're going against a 2 town center build, playing as the French, you can go 2 town centers yourself. Wait a minute. No. No. B. Seriously? He's actually doing it? I cannot believe it. He's actually going for the Chamber of Commerce. Alright, well, I don't know what to say. You guys know me, I'm very rarely speechless, but for match point in this best of 5 on Frisian Marshes, going trade against the Rus, a civilization that has movement speed. I mean, if this works, it's going to be an absolute masterstroke. I hope it works. I mean, I'm backing B. Not because I have anything against the Mista. I love the Mista, but I want to see a game number 4. And what fashion would it be? What craziness would it be if he does it, getting the Chamber of Commerce? We'll see. We'll see. Now, the trade is really strong, but, I mean, will it work? That's the question. Mista coming in with a heck of a lot of sheep. Holy moly. 16 sheep. Well, BDB doesn't have too few of his own. 14 of them. I mean, it's going to be a second town center from the Rus. You know what's kind of crazy about this? And what's crazy is that this might work. Honestly. Because of the fact that he's going second town center, the Rus, it means that his push, his kind of aggression, military-wise, is going to be delayed, right? So that does give the opportunity for the French to pump out some traders. And he's going to get some traders for free, by the way. He's going to get one for the wheelbarrow. And so trade actually pays for itself a little bit slower than maybe a town center does. Although, no, actually, I take that back because there's quite a heavy initial cost for town centers. So I would argue that trade actually pays for itself quite early, especially now that the trade has been changed. Like there was once upon a time where the traders had to make a trip to the neutral trade post and back to get gold. But now what actually happens, the traders pop out and they actually just get gold each trip, half the gold that they would for a double trip, but still, it pays for itself very nicely. And the Mista now getting double broadaxe, and he does have a barracks as well, going to get some spearmen. He's expecting knights, right? And the thing that's really tricky to spot this happening is that the French are on gold, but they're not on gold for knights just yet. They're on gold for traders. Now, he will eventually get knights because he's going to get a stable, but with the Mista spotting this out now, he's spotting the fact that B has stable. He will be suspicious of trade, right? Because you don't normally go double stable. We can't go double stable this early. Like, you just can't produce from 2, right? It's impossible. So he must know that it can't be the School of Cavalry, and he can't spot the School of Cavalry anyway. Just like, you know, checking, like vision-wise. He scouted most of the base. So it must be the Chamber of Commerce in the corner there, and that's exactly where it is. There's a trader getting 72 gold. And what's kind of crazy behind this as well is that the French do have more villagers, and it's because the town centers work faster. So I think the reason why this is kind of working is because the French have a faster working town center, so they keep up with 2 town centers a little bit. It's obviously the Rus going to make more villages in the long term, but he's already got a 3 villager lead, a 3 economy lead, especially because he's had the trade up. And he's making traders as well. And the good thing for the French is he's kind of committing to stables, right? So 2 stables, he's going to get knights, and he's going to have the movement speed. So I genuinely think that trading civilizations, they really need the mobility with high premium units that are cavalry based. And so the Rus, the French, the Mongols, of course, goes without saying, they can be really strong at doing this. They're the ones that can make trade work, and it looks like he's going to try and do that. And he's going to go for the shorefish as well, so he's really going heavy on the economy with wheelbarrow, go to shorefish, whereas the Rus are playing a bit more passively, like kind of condensed economy. Like the second town set could have been on shorefish, right? But it's not. So he's going less aggressive on the economy, and I think the reason why this is working for B, or could work for B, it looks like it's working so far, is because the Rus have eco bonuses, but the French are making their own eco bonuses just by getting the more efficient resources on the map. Shorefish, the fastest source of food on the map. Trade, an incredibly cost-effective way of gaining resources on the map quickly and effectively and efficiently. And it's going to be double barracks here for the Mista. So he's going to go... oh, I don't like this from the Mista. I really don't. Because he has no movement. He has no movement speed now, right? Like, to deny trade, he's going to need a critical number of spearmen. By the time he gets that, it's going to be too late. And he's going to try and wall this up, to be fair. And he does have an archery range, B. In fact, he's going to invest in a double archery range. This is looking good for B. I like his chances. I could be wrong. And it could be just that Mista takes a clean sweep here. But I like the chances. With a crazy Chamber of Commerce build, if he gets a critical number of archers here, B, he takes out the spearmen. The spearmen don't take out the trade. Trade escalates. Scales that economy for the French. And things just get out of hand. Now, the Rus are still behind on economy, right? Because he's got 2 town centers, but he's facing against a French town center and trade. And another market, B going crazy. With the trade, he's really escalating, and I love what we see. Because the thing is that his trade is going to be booming heavily. But the main thing is that not only is the Rus not able to deny it or not causing any pressure on it, even if he does a little bit of pressure, it doesn't matter. He's got 2 markets effectively. He'll have to do a lot of pressure to try and stop this from escalating too heavily. I'm not sure where that villager went, though, for the Rus. Trying to get the walls up. Going to try and get it sneakily, but isn't managing just yet. And if B walls up the trade, that's even another layer to this game that makes it even more difficult for the Rus. And for this whole time, he's been relying on sheep, whereas B has been getting food sources from the shorefish. No wheelbarrow for the Mista. Does have double broadaxe, which would be great for his economy in terms of wood. Double barracks, and now he's getting stables for the... he's going for horsemen. It just feels bad, to be honest, going horsemen versus knights. The horsemen will do decent damage against the archers, but... trade is up and running, holy moly. How many has he got so far, B? 8 traders. Now he could potentially just activate the button, get some Kremlin gremlins and make a big push. Now he does start to have quite a decent number of units here, Mista, that he could potentially push. But B's economy is looking strong, and he's being able to fund knights pretty much just by his trade, right? I think if B even just took these villagers off of gold soon, he'll be fine. Because he's just getting plenty of gold from the trade. Maybe a couple more traders will need it. Getting an outpost to protect. And the thing is, for B, he's done such a great job of keeping the trade safe with the units, but now is walling up behind it as well. Let's take a look at where the army is for the Mista. Yeah, he's just making his way now, but just feels a little bit too little too late, and we might just see one big engagement. We'll have to see if he runs into the path of B or not. Gonna try and get the ball? Maybe just trying to deny the bounty, to be fair, at this point. Oh no, get the bounty, rather. But as you can see, the army being grouped together for B. He does have some blacksmith upgrades as well. It has steel arrow. Iron undermesh coming in for the Mista. How many archers does B have? Okay, this could be a big fight here. Will Mista take it? I'm not so sure. It does have a critical number of spearmen, though. That could be a good fight if the spearmen engage. He's looking to engage. Now, I like what Mista's doing, keeping his army split up into 2. He's taking the fight. Mista diving in. Spearmen engaged against the knights. Horsemen diving on the archers there. The French, they need to be careful. The French need to focus on the spearmen if you can to keep the knights alive. Knights back off, but the archers won't be able to get out of there. They don't have the movement speed. The spearmen do charge against the knights. The archers focusing on the spearmen as much as they possibly can. If the spearmen numbers do go down for the Mista, that could be game. The knights are starting to engage. That's a critical number of knights, actually. Spearmen aren't looking all that daunting in terms of their numbers now. The archer numbers are doing enough. They're picking off the spearmen. This is a fight that B is taking, and he is winning, and this could be the end of the game because the Mista won't have too much behind this. The trade has been untouched for so long, and the French trade has come into play. He's been able to take the victory in game number 3 on Frisian Marshes. B has come back with a game, and he's going to take it to game number 4. Welcome to Regions! And game number 4 of this best of 5 series between 3DB, who is spawning in the south corner of the map in orange as the Ottomans. And well, Mista is in the north, playing in blue as the English. Welcome, welcome everyone to Regions in game number 4, which promises to be a fantastic one. Still, match point for the Mista. And well, B has clawed one back. He's brought one back into the game. And could this be a reverse sweep? We will have to see, because B will be fancying his chances as the Ottomans. It's a strong civilization at the moment. I mean, they just do feudal age better than the English. And they look strong on a map like this. Region is it's open. Mr. opening up with a Vanguard man at arms on the field, looking to do some damage. Now, what we've got to do is to talk about some important things. And that important thing is to make sure that we're focusing on the right player so that we can get the man at arms. Well, the main thing is the matchup and the dynamics. So the Ottomans are very aggressive in all ages because of the military school. They get free units. It's incredibly strong. The English have this little kind of... They can be aggressive, but it just feels a bit awkward going as the English versus the Ottomans being aggressive in the early game because the Ottomans get free units, right? But there's this kind of slight opening window in really early feudal age where the English actually do pretty well. And it takes a bit of time for the military schools to really kick in with the free units. But, you know, the meta gets involved, gets the 20% attack speed, which the English need to do by getting an outpost forward, which is 100 wood investment, and it becomes very tricky. And as you can see, the military school already for the Ottomans are going to be pushing this man at arms back instantaneously with 2 spearmen. And so things aren't great as an opening here for the Mr. Because the Mr. had to invest a lot into this, right? He has to invest food and gold into double man at arms. And he had to invest the 150 wood for the barracks. Does have 2 man at arms though, and it'll keep him safe, at least against the spearmen. But really, B has no problem. Okay, it wasn't the military school even, it was the barracks. Okay, I think he must have scouted the opening. I was kind of expecting to see a military school, but it is what it is. They're going to keep his gold safe for sure. And what's kind of fascinating is that he didn't necessarily need to do this. B, like, he didn't need to protect that gold. I mean, he probably should have mined enough before the man at arms got there, maybe. Although the English man at arms is pretty fast. And to be fair, the gold is actually in a risky position. So, I mean, it's a really good decision because he's kept those man at arms at bay and has given the Mr. something to think about. But the thing is, for B, I hope he doesn't overcommit to the spears because the Mr. will be going most likely with the Council Hall, right? He kind of has to now because he sees spearmen. He won't want to go for the knight. Won't want to go for the king. And of course, the Council Hall will but produce twice as fast the longbowmen. And so that'll counter the spearmen. So we'd like to see a stable going up for the Ottomans in the feudal age once he gets there. But and he will get there pretty soon actually, because like the investment from the Mr. was pretty heavy. And it's kind of rough when you think about it, because the Mr. is not going to be up to the next stage for quite some time. Because the man at arms are very expensive. Like each spearman is 60 food, 20 wood. A man at arms is 100 food and 20 gold. And those are the exact resources you need to get to the next stage, right? So the twin minaret madrasa, the landmark of choice for B, going up with 6 villagers, building it on the berries as well, which is very, very nice actually, because it acts as a mill as a drop-off point, is very well protected. Well, relatively well protected. I think probably the most ideal spot for the landmark would be here, behind the TC, but he's going to be having access to berries, and if he's going to be looking to be aggressive in his own anyway, then he shouldn't be too concerned about it. Here comes the engagement. I think the man at arms win this. The spearmen need to back off for B, but what B might do, and it would be pretty smart to do, is if he gets the 2 imams from the vizier points, then he could actually heal these units back up. So whilst the Mr. has lost a couple of HP on these units, or B might look just to heal them up. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the 2 imams, because he's probably expecting heavy feudal age pressure. Now there is a scope for the Mr. to go for 2 town centres. It could be an option, but it's tricky if you do that against the Ottomans, especially if the Ottomans stay 1 town centre. It really comes down to who reacts first, who changes things. We will have to see. Now, the feudal age will be in for the B. And what will he do next? He's got enough wood for production building. What will it be? It's going to be a mining camp. So he's going to go for stone. There's 5 villagers on that. Maybe looking to get... It's too difficult to tell if it's going to be for a 2nd town centre, or if it's going to be for another military school. I feel like it's going to be another military school, but we can't be too sure, because... Again, the thing I love about this 2 town centre play against the English as the Ottomans is that, well, I mean... Ideally, you don't want the game going super late game if you're the Ottomans versus the English, but like if you have a mid castle age spike in power that could be driven by your economy by having 2 town centers, well, if Mr. tries to match this, then B's economy should be better generally, because he should want the economy won't be better, but he'll have more military because of the military schools, right? So he'll be able to put some pressure on, and Mr. would have to invest a lot more into military, which he has to pay for. He doesn't get free units, of course. But we'll see if it will be a 2nd town centre or not. It's going to be military school first. It's going to be military schools, really, I suspect. That's got to be, right? I don't think it's really... Whilst I think 2TC with the Ottomans could be nice, I think the military schools is going to be the first port of call, of course, and then go from there. Mr. going for a farming transition, which would be nice for his food economy for sure. Going to get blacksmith and stable. So it's going to be very heavy feudal age pressure just to leverage the advantage of the Ottomans, and he does indeed get the vizier point on the imams. No real surprise there. But now that he's got villages off of stone, yeah, it's going to be just purely feudal age pressure that the English are going to have to deal with. Now I think Mr. has a couple of villages on gold, mostly for upgrades. Looks like he's going to pile on pressure on the feudal age as well. And what excites me about this match so far is that, well, B is a game away from losing, right? He needs to win this game to push it to a game number 5 and potentially get a reverse sweep, which would be incredible to see. But the key bit of detail is that what we talked about earlier in the matchup, the English and the Ottomans, if they're going to go against each other in the feudal age, you kind of give the edge to the Ottomans. The one saving grace though for the English rather is the man-at-arms. The Ottomans don't get man-at-arms in the feudal age, and if Mr. can kind of group up a lot of these man-at-arms together, a critical mass, and get iron undermesh, they can be difficult to deal with, especially if it's predominantly archers that the Ottomans go for. But the Ottomans obviously do have Sipahi that can tank a lot of damage, and so that's where things become a bit problematic for the English once again. Iron undermesh coming in for the Ottomans, just protecting himself against the longbows that could be coming in soon, and are coming in soon. So it looks like it's going to be longbowmen man-at-arms for the Mr. Sipahi just going to dive in, maybe just for scouting more than anything. Would love to bring that back home and heal him up. It should just try not to lose too many units here, I think. B doesn't need to, right? And so I think there's an interesting dynamic in this match. I think just B needs to find out what Mr.'s doing, really. Keep an eye on it. Make sure he knows what's happening, because he's just getting free units now. And so the longer the feudal age goes, the better for B. Especially because the English don't have sort of a hard eco bonus. The farms are a bit cheaper and they do gather food faster. But, you know, the twin minaret madrasa does a good deal for the Ottomans as well, with a faster gather speed. Obviously, not necessarily equivalent to 8 farms, so in the short term, the twin minaret madrasa will keep up on that bonus. But if the Mr. does start to invest in a lot more farms, it could become a problem for the Ottomans. Double broadaxe coming in for the Mr. Double broadaxe coming in for the B. Now the Mr. keeping his army quite far forward. He wants to make sure he gets a good position on the map. But relatively equal numbers, as you can see. 31 economy for both players. 16 to 15 military. Don't forget the Ottomans haven't spent as much resources on that. Not that he has much more of a bank of resources, B though. Heading left with a spear. Couple of Sipahi heading forward. Now, one thing to bear in mind with this matchup as well, with any matchup involving the English, it can be very snowballing. We've talked about this sort of thing in the channel before, and what I mean by that is that if you take one bad fight as the English, it can be the end of you. If you take one good fight as the English, it could mean that you probably win the game. And it comes down to the mobility in many cases because of that. Because of the fact that these guys, if they're caught out of position, there's just no way to escape, right? They can't run away. They can't ride away like cavalry can. So if they're caught out of position, it can be very devastating. A couple of Sipahi just going around, and Sipahi looking to maybe get some value at the English base. He's going to maybe engage this. No, I don't think he can, really. Might take a few hits and then back off and then just heal up a little bit with the imams. And the east side scout just looking to keep an eye on that gold vein just to see if he's going for fast castle. And it doesn't look like it just yet. Those 5 villagers maybe just going to supply the resources for upgrades. He's going to snipe the scout there, maybe. He doesn't manage it in the end. Has to back off. Longbowman range. Saves the scout there for the Mr. Now he is heading southwards. Probably just to heal up a little bit. But again, passive opening. Although, wait a minute. Wait a minute. No. No. You guys might be wondering why I'm kind of a little bit awkward right now, because the Ottomans, if you've seen this play out, you'll know what I'm talking about. There is a very famous, or infamous I should say, all-in play from the Ottomans. And it's an absolute crazy one. Now, will B do it in a $15,000 tournament in game number 4, in a game that he must win? I don't think so. But I don't know, because it's 3DB. What the play is that he masses up units, and he goes in with villages, with textiles, with rams, and he pushes in heavy. And he goes all in. I mean, it doesn't seem likely at this point, to be fair, because he doesn't have siege engineering. It's already the 11th minute. But it could be a nice option. I mean, it's an all-in play, and it's very kind of crazy. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, it works. Might be going for something in between, maybe halfway. Doing it with the Sipahi and going through with the archers. Now, King's Palace is going up for the English. That'd be the second town centre for him. I don't think B gets there in time. Although, might just with the Sipahi. Could be crazy good timing, but it's not going to be, because he's going to be focusing on the military here in the front. Although, having said that, when the Mista does go up, that could be the signal for the Ottomans to push in and be aggressive. He's diving on the gold. I don't think the Mista has enough military here. 39 to 19. B, will he dive this though? Because the town centre for the English is really strong. He is going to dive it. Sipahi diving in, going to cause idle time. The archer's going to focus on the man-at-arms. It might be a good option to take them out now before they upgrade to the Castle Age man-at-arms. He's taking out the spearmen first, and then maybe diving with the Sipahi. If he takes out the spearmen, the Sipahi get a free reign on those archers, taking out a good number of them. If he can try and get on top of them, but he isn't managing to just yet. No villager kills. I wonder if this is a bit tricky for B, because whilst there's only 10 military on the field, it has done some critical damage to the military for the English. Like, he doesn't want to lose units here, B, if he can. Because if these guys get upgraded, which they have been now, these guys are Castle Age, getting armoured clad as well. The Feudal Age archers aren't going to do all that much damage. I think B needs to get to the next stage. Like, this is awkward, because he doesn't have as much of a standing army as perhaps he might want to. And the man-at-arms could pack a punch. Now, there's no real scope for him to wall up. Oh, there's a decent scope. He could wall up here on the west side, but there's no real resources being protected. Production is on the front for B. He's being aggressive nonetheless, focusing on the man-at-arms first. He might just need to outmass, I guess. Now, the thing for Mista is, now that he's gone for second town centre effectively, he won't be able to afford that many units. It's a high cost to food to try and keep up the village production from 2 town centres. And he's losing villages now. He's lost the first one. Might be losing more, but the man-at-arms, look at how tanky they are. But he's not got the blacksmith upgrades. Does he have a blacksmith? He doesn't actually. So try and balance the economy with the market. If he had iron undermesh right now, it'd be terrible for the Ottomans. Without iron undermesh, he's still dealing out a decent amount of damage. Kind of surprisingly. But B just staying in the feudal age for now, trying to just kite up his man-at-arms, engaging with the Sipahi, archers on the back line, picking off the weaker ones if he can. Again, I don't know, it's a decent fight for B, but there comes a point where if he keeps delaying the Castle Age, these man-at-arms will start to build up in numbers, and in critical numbers, and you get the feeling that might be starting to happen soon. He's splitting the army into 2. This is a nice play by B, focusing on the man-at-arms with the archers, just pulling away man-at-arms with the Sipahi. He's going to have to check out some villages. Nicely done. He's going to deny the gold. The trouble for Mista, does he have a back gold? He doesn't. That is absolutely critical. B's done so well to spot that as well. The lack of a back gold for the Mista means that he can't really afford units. As in, like, premium Castle Age units. The man-at-arms. He's starting to get a critical number now. I think B needs to back off and just think about edging towards that Castle Age. But if he does get to the Castle Age, he'll have a massive standing army. Just going to deny the gold again. This is such good micro from B. Pulling the army left, right and centre. And this is a good... I mean, the man-at-arms need to split off for the Mista. He does now. Because he needs to really focus on the archers, right? The Sipahi can't be caught with the man-at-arms. And he needs breathing space for these villagers. He could do well to get an outpost there, actually, again. The archer's just going to go around the long way. Going to snipe as many villagers as possible. Picks off another. He's got 5 villager kills already. Maybe a 6th and a 7th. Maybe an 8th. No, just the 7th for now. He needs to back away from the man-at-arms. Now, whilst the man-at-arms are tanky, they don't have the movement speed. Let's take out the movement speed on the man-at-arms, actually. 1.12. The archers are at 1.25. So we'll always have the movement speed available for him to try and dictate the terms of the engagement. Janissary is popping out for the Ottomans, 8 of them. And he is now edging towards that Castle Age, which is good to see for B, because the longer this goes, the more kind of concerning it gets for him. Needs a bit more food, keeps the meta alive for now. I'm not sure what happened to the Imams, whether they got sniped in the end. In any case, he's doing well, double the military, but it is Feudal Age versus Castle Age, rather. Picks off another couple of man-at-arms. The trouble is for the Mista, he doesn't have the blacksmith. It's actually really hurting him now. And pretty much full blacksmith upgrades for B. That's the big difference. And he's going to go with the Istanbul Imperial Palace. What is he doing? We're expecting to see something totally different. I was expecting to see the Mehmed Imperial Armory. He's going to go up with this landmark. And this is going to be nice for him, though. He's going to double the Imperial Council experience around the landmark. And also increase the vizier point limit by +2. Hold him in good stead as the game goes a little bit longer, but it's going to take a really good fight here with the Janissaries. The man-at-arms dwindling in numbers, down to 18 militaries, the Mista. And whilst even going up to the castle age, you're still taking the engagement beat and taking a good fight. The numbers are dwindling here for the Mista, can't keep up. And he's starting to get the gold income a little bit. 20 gold per minute is just not enough. He needs more villagers on that gold. Keep up man-at-arms production. Is getting pushed back, and this is looking good for B. He's ahead in villagers. He's going to take up to the next stage, and he's fighting on the front lines. Doesn't need to take any unfavourable engagements. Needs to back away there. There's quite a few longbowmen there. Longbowmen, they can do decent damage against the Janissaries. He backs off now. Meta involved as well. There's that castle age. He needs to get the upgrades and just make sure he takes minimal fights until he gets them. Janissary is going to kite the man-at-arms as much as possible. Longbowmen trying to focus them down. There's a Pahi on the right side, picking off the man-at-arms that remain. But the thing that's really hurting the Mista is no blacksmith upgrades. And the great thing for the B rather, it could just go for Lancers, right? Yeah, it's going to go for Lancers, getting stables up. This is the perfect play. And the reason why this is so strong is the Lancers will counter the man-at-arms, will counter the longbowmen. And there's nothing that Mista can do about it. He'll need spearmen or knights of his own, but he hasn't really teched into that. Doesn't have the production capability. Doesn't have the wood. He's got hard farming transition. Whilst the farming transition is a bit easier for the English than other civilizations, farms are cheaper. It's still wood being costed into that, especially when you're factoring is producing longbowmen as well. So he will struggle to produce or make too many more stables. He's got 3 barracks at the moment already. The trouble is that being on 2 town centers for the Mista, he's not been able to keep up village count. It's really struggling here. Maybe the White Tower could have been a better option. But it's funding villages and army at the same time has been difficult for the Mista. Couldn't do it all. Maybe got to the castle stage a little bit prematurely. Here's a mosque coming out for the Ottomans, looking to get some of those relics, and that could be really important. He's walling up in the Mista. Always very cognizant of those Sipahi that could get value. Where are these guys going? Where are they going? To berries? Okay. Quite a few villagers on stone, maybe to get the 3rd or 4th military school, actually. We'll have to see. The longbowmen are going to be upgraded to the veterancy status. And now, finally, Mista's been able to get a decent number of villagers on to gold and had a nice farming economy building up. But behind this, well, B has more villagers, although not for long, because he does have the King's Palace now, the Mista. And I think Mista might be facing a keep drop soon, because this doesn't look like it's for another military school. It looks like it's going to be for a keep. A couple of imams healing up these guys, or just one imam rather. And things have quietened down a little bit now in game number 4. And there's a... Okay, maybe I'll take it back. There's another military school coming out. And a blacksmith too. Maybe it won't be a keep drop. We'll have to see. Because, I mean, it may be, because 350 stone is a bit awkward. What else is he going to do with that stone? Really saturating that gold there, the Mista. Now, the good thing for the Mista is he could go for crossbowmen out of the council hall to deal with the knights that are coming. Or the lancers, I should say, from the Ottomans. Gets another villager kill. There's that first relic being picked up by B. Lumber preservation coming in for B. And the scout just trying to find out what's happening. Mista overgathering on gold a bit. I think because he just feels like he needs to gather some because it's on the front lines, right? He doesn't want to be too pressured. If he's pressured off the gold again, that would be problematic. This is one of the reasons why I love regions, because you have 3 gold spawns in the middle. And I think B is going... I mean, it would be quite nice to get static defense in the middle, right? Where's he going with the villagers to wood? Okay. But he needs to control these golds. If he does, then the Mista will be in trouble. Because you only have like 2 golds in your main base. One here in the east, one there still mining away. Just about to expire. Once these 2 gold veins do expire, he has to venture out into the middle. Equal number of military units, despite having 4 military schools for the Ottomans. It's going out to stone. It will be a keep drop, right? It's got to be. I'm surprised he's going for this stone outcropping. He's already got stone outcropping here, but decides he wants to take the more precarious option first whilst it's still available to him. One relic has been deposited, another one on the way for the Ottomans. And looks like Mr. thinking about pushing out forward a little bit, just waiting for the blacksmith upgrades it seems. Trouble is, with only one blacksmith he's behind, right? Because like B's got a lot of the blacksmith upgrades already. Even the castle age ones he's got. And it looks like B is going to opt for a timing push, right, with a keep drop. And I like that play because he knows he's up against a 2-town centre effectively from the English. So he knows that the English aren't going to have like a massive number of units, at least not compared to him. Because he's got military schools. Lots of cavalry, lots of janissaries, and quite a few crossbows with the meta. Just one meta, so the English will want to snipe him if he can. And there is the stone for the keep. Where's he going to put it down? That's the question. Trying to get an outpost. I was going to go straight for the middle goals, and that's going to be good for him if he gets it. Oh, there's a man-at-arms there. Good thing he has an outpost, but the villagers need to back away from that. Not enough space for that one. The villager has to make the long trip home as fast as they can. The outpost. Okay, well, this is interesting. He spots this. He should look to deny that, I think. He won't want to let that go up because of the attack speed that comes with it. Network of castles. Mr. does delete it. There's no way for the Mr. to deny the keep. But relatively equal numbers for the two players. Going out to gold in the front now. Now I wonder if B just pressurizes this gold, it could be a bad situation. Trying to get the gold on the west side though of the 3 golds. Just a single man at arms, just harassing the wood line a little bit. Is B microing this? I mean, he's keeping quite a few villages idle here, the Mister, so really good value from that man at arms. Going down the west way. The Mister, does B spot this? He does. He sees the man at arms. He deals with that man at arms back at home with the Lancer. Might just be eyeing up a big fight here. We'll have to see. Could be a big engagement, which I'm not sure the Mister wins, because I don't think he does win this because of the blacksmith upgrades, right? There's crossbowmen, there's janissary there, there's Sipahi, there's Lancers. I think just Mister doesn't have the best army here. The Sipahi counter the crossbowmen and the longbowmen, and the Lancers and the crossbowmen deny man-at-arms. There's quite a few man-at-arms there, to be fair. He continues to edge forward, trying to get an outpost, trying to push on the west side of the map. And that will give the defenders advantage to the Ottomans. Oh, he's going to get... this could be the snowball we're looking for. We talked about it earlier. Take one bad engagement as either player when you're up against the English, and it could be the end of you. And the arm is caught out of position. Like, he moved way too forward here, the Mister. He's getting tracked down, and the Lancer's picking off the longbowmen that are trying to retreat. But he can't. He doesn't have the movement speed, right? He's going to get mowed down. He does engage in the end. He has to, really. Fighting in the woods. Janissaries on the back line for the Ottomans. The man-at-arms dwindling in numbers slowly but surely. Sipahi diving in. Lancers as well. And this is such a terrible fight for the Mister. He's got half of his army back at home, and he didn't get them together. Because of that, he's going to be down and out in this game, you feel. He's losing the military. This is bad for the Mister. Could this be B's way back into the set? Could this be the beginning, or at least the midway through a reverse sweep? We'll have to see. Look at the military numbers. 20 military to 62. But the Mister has a better economy, but not by much. And it's not going to work well because this is a lot of units. Mister losing all of his units on the front lines. Does he have anything back at home? B, he wins it. He takes out Mister in game number 4. And well, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to head into a final game. Game number 5. Could this be the reverse sweep? Well, you're going to have to watch and wait. You have to wait and watch. Let's move on to game number 5. Welcome to Prairie and the final match in this best of 5, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a banger. Let me just sort out the overlay because we'll certainly want to fix that. In any case, whilst we do that, let's just take a look. We have got 3DB on the west side of the map in orange as the Mongols. And of course, the Mister on the east side of the map in blue as the Holy Roman Empire. Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this final game in this best of 5. And, well, it's been a crazy set so far, with 3DB on the verge of a reverse sweep. Losing the first 2 games in this best of 5 is now coming back to 2-2. Now it all ends on the map Prairie. And I've got to say, as things go, you know, I love the Mista, I love watching him play, but when you're faced up with a potential reverse sweep, things are going to be difficult for him because he's up against the Mongols on Prairie. Now for me, the Mongols are one of the best civilizations on this map. I think it's one of the best civilizations on maps like, you know, Frisian Marshes, Hill and Dale, any map that they can effectively trade. And there's a trade post in the corner of the map on the Prairie. It's just crazy. And it's going to be strong because look at the spawn. He's got wood, he's got gold right underneath the town centre. There's very little that the Mista can do to hurt B at this stage. And another reason why I think the Mongols are incredibly strong on this map is essentially because of the sheep. Let's take a look at the Khan. How many sheep he's got already? 11. On Prairie, you're blessed with plenty of sheep. And so everything that B could ever want in terms of early game economy, it's all here. He's got food, he's got wood, he's got gold. And the other concerning thing, as I see already out of the bat, is that the Mista has gone for an early barracks. He's gone for spearmen. And it's because he's going to try and defend against an outpost rush, right? But the perfect thing for the Mongols is that they've got the Uvu and they can double produce from their barracks. Now granted, it's a little bit less taxing on the HRE because they do have the Prelate boosting up gather speed by 40%. But just bear one thing in mind. He doesn't get free units, the Mista, out of this, in terms of the double production that the Uvu gets. And not only that, the fact that he's having to rely on the Prelate bonus to try and match that Uvu bonus of getting free units, it means he's going to run out of sheep faster, right? And so, because he's going to run out of sheep faster, he's investing a greater proportion into military early on. That can be difficult to scale into economy later with, for example, a second town centre. I mean, just taking a straight spearman fight against the Mongols is always very difficult. But he's doing a decent job of it. The one thing that could help the Mista is to bring his Prelate away to try and heal up. The only problem with that is, of course, he would need to sacrifice gather speed. Now, he could just train another Prelate. Could be an option to add into the fight and the healing ability. Then he would run the TC being idled. And so, oh, that's a bad engagement just with one spearman there. So B with the early advantage, and this all suits B very much because when B feels like it, he'll go to the next stage with the silver tree and he'll start trading. It's got to be, right? But this outpost is going to be very difficult for the Mista to deal with because an outpost on this area, it denies the wood line and wood is so scarce. And this is why the Mongols are so strong on this map. And this is why the Mongols could win this series for 3DB. We'll have to see plenty of time for things to change. And the spearman going to try and defend the villager. It probably will. I think he needs to be careful not to get torch damage on the outpost to be taken apart. I think Mista feels confident about this 9 spearmen versus the 8. There's a couple of weak spearmen there by B as well. He deletes the outpost before he suffers any torch damage. Here's that Prelate coming up to heal. We talked about how important that could be. Mista's kept up on production. And this is so strong. The Mista's got such good economy though behind this. And it just feels like B... Wait a minute. What? B's going to go for another barracks. He is not letting up on any sort of pressure whatsoever. He is adamant. He's absolutely adamant that he wants this outpost. And he just doesn't care. He's going to get another 2 spearmen to join the fight. Now, the one thing that's benefiting the Mista is the healing, right? This is actually not to be underestimated. But there comes a point where the numbers just overwhelm. And he takes the fight. The Prelate should come in, get involved and start to inspire and heal up the units. He does now. Villager coming out to build the outpost again. I think B feels confident. He's going to get another spearman to the fight. Now, the defender's advantage, obviously very much in the way of the Holy Roman Empire. Really look to try and target the villager. He does. He engages. Oh, this is a bad fight for B, maybe? I don't know. It's a bit difficult to tell. The Prelate getting good value, but it's all going to come down to micro. B loses 2 spearmen. The HRE loses 1 so far. And this is looking a decent fight for HRE in the end because of the healing. B loses so much and he has to cancel the outpost. This is a great pushback by the Mista. That was a bit of a snowball there. And it kind of hurts him. B has had to go back and he's invested in another barracks as well on the back of this. Wonder whether, though, Mista might be fooled into a false sense of security. Thinking, well, that's got to be the end of it, right? And they might be thinking about going to the next stage, which could be his downfall. Villager engages. Oh, you need to save the villager. He does. It continues to produce, though. He's not giving up the Mista on that. He's going to get the Minework Palace forced into it, really. That'd be nice for the blacksmith upgrades coming 40% cheaper and 40% faster. This could be a good way to play the game. It's a bit crazy so far. Does suffer the torch damage. I'm not sure if B got all the resources back for that. Now that he's got double barracks production, he's just outproducing his opponent, especially with the Uvu double production. Gonna try a third bite at the cherry. Sending 2 villagers this time to get the outpost up. Is he going to engage? I'm not so sure about this. He's got 2 prelates now, the Mista. This could go either way. Trying to pull up the weak ones there, B. But I think B takes this fight this time. Even with the 2 prelates, I think he outnumbers. The double barracks play for B was so strong. 7 minutes on the clock. And well, if B wins this fight, he should be able to get the outpost up. Although I think he lost the villagers. I think the thing that turned this fight was actually the... No, the villagers are there. Well, the outpost will go up now. The HRE have to back off and go elsewhere for wood. Where does he go? Because everything else is going to be super exposed, right? Yeah, this is bad for the Mista. Like, where does he actually go for the wood? Oh my god, this is really bad. I don't know if it's the map gen. I think it's the map gen. The map, I mean, this is a bad wood line for sure. And he has no back wood line at all, the Mista. Kind of hard done by the map generation. And on the back of this, well, take a look at this. It's going to be the silver tree. Now with the Mista getting to the next stage, he will get marching drills, which actually help him micro the fights a little bit better. But he is so far behind on military. 14-8. And I wouldn't be surprised to see B just continue producing, but he has stopped for now. Going to go for the boar as well. So on the back of this, getting boar, a really fast source of food, but also trade going to be up and running soon. And this is a tricky situation for the Mista. He actually has 0 villagers on wood, and he's going to need it because he needs to produce, right? Could go back to the stragglers, but there's only... I mean, it's only a short-term solution, that. Going to get an outpost on the gold, and I don't think the Mista can stop that. B is looking in a really strong position. He's going to go to the next stage. No archery range. Double barracks. Now, to be fair, the double barracks with the man-at-arms coming out will be very strong for him. Especially with marching drills. Would it be enough? I think, would he be able to stop the outpost going up? That's the question. He engages. Does have a prelate to heal up 2 of them. He's engaging against the man-at-arms. The man-at-arms will be decently tanky. Doesn't have any blacksmith upgrades just yet, though the HRE. I think B is just waiting. He's just focusing on getting the outpost up. Waiting for the outpost to go up to deny the gold as much as possible. And if he garrisons inside, he loses the 2 man-at-arms. Next could lose a prelate if he's not careful there, Mista. He does get another man-at-arms. The villagers garrison inside the outpost. So do the weak spearmen. Oh, that was nice body blocking. Nice surround. Gets to the feud ledge, and now he's denied gold to quite a substantial amount because there's no iron undermesh here for Mista just yet. Now has to venture out. Where does he get gold from? There's a gold vein here though. Potentially he could go for hardened spearman upgrade coming in. Would he go for archers? That's the question. We're going to go for Keshiks instead. Not a bad option at all. He's having to head north for the wood line, and this is so exposed. He's going to need to drop an outpost if he can. But he doesn't have the wood. He had to commit to a stable himself for some horsemen. But going up against Keshiks is kind of rough. Okay, the Khan spots it, and he does survive as well. So this is certainly going to be the focus for attack. He uses the eagle arrow. Keep scouting of the area to see what is happening. He sees everything. If he can get his military into position, this could be bad for the Mista. Where does he go for gold? He has no villages on gold here at the moment. Mista gonna have to focus on wood and food units. Oh, I was trying to go for the berries. It's not gonna happen. And this is the issue playing HRE. He's chewed through his food. He's gonna run out of food very soon. No more sheep. Looking bad. Trying to get counter aid maybe? No, just a scout. This is looking a bit rough here for the Mista. Could this be the reverse sweep that B was looking for? Now, the Mista does have a decent number of military though. He's able to produce quite a bit. On the back of this, let's just see how many traders that B has got. Just moving his silver tree at the moment now. So no traders just yet. He's focused on military for now. He has secured the berries with military and that wood line, that side of things. It's certainly helpful. He's going to invest in a house. He will need that for population, of course. Scout just being annoying. Keshik getting involved. Silver tree is unpacking. Will he queue up a trader? That's the question. Quite possibly. Hasn't done so yet. It's getting wheelbarrow first though, B. And the wood line is safe for now. Berries are safe for now. Where has B gone with his army? That's what I would love to know. Kind of dotted them around a little bit with the Keshiks. Yeah, he's just protecting his trade now, right? This is where things become really dicey for the Mista, because he's got military on the field just trying to protect his pocket economies. But behind all this, trade's coming out. Almost heading to the 12th minute of the game. It's a large number of units though for the Mista. He should be able to push the Keshiks away. But all that B needs to do is really just buy himself some time, right? Just drag away the units away from his trade. Let the trade do its business. And just try and keep Mista on his toes. Keep him on the map as much as possible. Mista not taking the bait. He wants to go for the trade. Don't blame him. Maybe he's going to go for the production buildings. Quite possible. The Keshiks going to get involved. A decent number of spearmen. The Keshiks will always struggle. It feels like it's got to be mass archers for the Mongols to deal with all of this. He needs to bring back the army B. He needs to keep it together. 32 military versus 22. Looking strong here for the Mista. As time goes on, as that trade goes online, it will be difficult. Spears might turn around and fight. Gets a charge attack. Man-at-arms are tanking a lot of the damage from the arrows. Coming in from the archers. Khan has been killed. The archers should do well to kite. I think the archers need to focus on the spearmen. If he does that, then the Keshiks will dive in. How much value can he get though? He needs to get as many units as he possibly can here, B. He's focusing on the spearmen. Villagers have to get away from the boar for now at least. The Keshiks do dive in. He's taking the fight. There's a lot of spearmen though. A bit too many I think. On the east side. Villagers survive another day. The archers though, they're focusing on spears. Slowly but surely, B is microing this down very nicely. Keshiks will dive in on that man-at-arms and take it out very quickly. And the Mista didn't get much value out of that. Because it's not like he's trading behind this, right? So with B just keeping the army on the middle of the map, he's trading. So look at one trader so far, slowly trickling them out. Slowly but surely, the economy will scale very nicely. It's getting steeled arrow as well for these archers. Be super important taking out the spears with those. Keshiks need to be careful not to dive in on their spearmen. It'll be suboptimal fight. But even being suboptimal, he might take it if it means that the units won't get the trade. Oh, B, watch out. He's going to back off. He's got to back off, actually. There's too many spears, I think. Does lose a Keshik. He's going to sacrifice one Keshik. Look at the micro, though. He's pulling away that many spearmen with just one Keshik. Mista only realizes now. On the back of this, where does he go for gold? He's still not... Oh, he has got a couple of villages of gold, actually. Not sure where. He's trying to wall up. There's the gold behind the walls. And that stable is precarious. Because horsemen that come out of these, they'll be sniped with the Keshiks if the spearmen aren't there. Oh, the Keshiks can get on the villagers and the berries. Has to be careful. Might get 1 or 2 kills maybe, but the villagers do have that nice movement speed to get out of there. No wheelbarrow actually. They're moving faster than I thought they would. Has to back away with those Keshiks, but slowly but surely, scaling the economy nicely. Plenty of archers to defend with as well. He knows where the gold is coming in from. Villagers coming out to berries as well. Idle time being caused, which is very significant. A new Khan rises, 5 villagers still idled. What's going on here? Kind of weird. Anyway, the horseman looking to try and raid. I think he's going to go for the trade now with the horseman as much as he can, but that does leave him a little bit exposed at home if the army comes in. The Keshiks are going to be riding into spearmen if he's not careful. B, don't do it, don't do it. Oh my god, what are you doing? I thought he was going to just bait and try and go in through and then back off. He went in through, didn't back off too quickly. Lost a Keshik or two. But large number of horsemen for the Mista. It's definitely trying to get the mobility. He doesn't want to be pinned at home and let that trade go untouched. And this is the right move, I think, for the Mista. Of course, if the Keshiks are in play for the B, if he gets them in the right position, it could be trouble. Oh, we are seeing trouble anyway. The Keshiks diving in. He has killed 4 villagers so far. Has to back off a decent number of spearmen there. 43 minutes to 36. Mista keeping up, but he's slowly but surely missing out on economy. Only 3 traders so far. Looks like the Mista had enough of these outposts. Has taken down... Oh, he's looking to take this one down on the gold. He wants the gold safe again. Don't blame him. Keshiks on the front line defending that outpost that he's already established. Mostly horsemen and man-at-arms. No spearmen there for the Mista. Horsemen are going to look to try and take down the trade, actually, the silver tree. You might get that. But this does give a window of opportunity for B to be aggressive, because half the army is already preoccupied in really the corner of the map. not engaging in the fights at all, and well, the Mista are going to be facing up against Keshiks and archers. The Keshiks might dive on that gold, might dive on the man-at-arms and horsemen. He would do well to do so. He needs to keep the archers close by because the spearmen are always threatening. And he backs off with the horsemen. For now, he wants to not run the risk of being dived on. I do not blame him. Town centre fire, getting one of the horsemen. Villagers garrisoning inside the outpost, going to save the others there as best he can. He's diving in now. I think B smells something. No villagers there on gold though, thankfully for the Mista. Pulls them away. It's a lot of idle villagers, idle time. 25 villagers being pushed away. Oh, spearmen by B. He's adding them in again. He takes out a couple of horsemen on the retreat. Good fight there by B. He's ahead on military, ahead on economy. He's looking strong. Maybe for the reverse sweep. Horsemen going to try and trap these units if he can. This could be a good fight for Mr. potentially. We have to see. I mean, the horsemen, I don't know how well they do against the Keshiks. Probably not very. The archer's going to get good DPS on the horsemen on the retreat, but this could be a big fight for the game. Here it is. Almost threatening for it. The Keshiks need to be aware of those spearmen. Oh, the archer's going to focus on the spearmen. This is bad movement here for Mr. He's going to lose a lot of the spearmen. The horsemen are now diving on the archers. The Keshiks on the man-at-arms, but the horsemen have to back off. The archers are now going to focus on the spearmen, and if they do, that will give the Keshiks a free rein. This is a fight that B is winning. Mr. has to back off, but he doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have the movement speed on the infantry. The Keshiks are going to chase this down and get critical damage. Still a decent number of spearmen, but those archers, if they get in range and the spearmen go down, that will leave the Keshiks to kill everything behind. Mr. is struggling. He's behind on economy, down to 28 military versus 57. Keshiks and archers just regrouping for now. B doesn't need to throw anything away. He just needs to play this slow and methodically. The archer's focusing on the spearmen now. Keshiks dive in. He's taking the fight, and he's dived in, right in. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. taps out on 3DB. He completes the reverse sweep, makes it 3-2 in this best of 5, and a great, great comeback in Age of Empires 4. One of the biggest classic matchups you'll ever see. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and see you next time.